Are you one of those investors that is really tired of having to classify everything in QuickBooks or FreshBooks associated with properties? Are you having an accountant doing that and spending $400, $500, $600 per month to do that? And then you go into your books and they're all classified incorrectly and you have to redo that again? And then you fire your accountant or your bookkeeper and bring on a new one, and you get to pay a couple $1,000s to have them do cleanup because the last bookkeeper did it incorrectly. I was that guy too. I actually went through 5 bookkeepers and even had a bookkeeper with a CPA that actually did it incorrectly for what the CPA wanted, and he had to do cleanup at the end of the year. That was a problem that I was facing. I was spending $6,000 a year just for a bookkeeper to try and do all the classifications for my properties and my expenses. I would literally get a grass cutting invoice for 10 properties, and they would split that, and in one of those they would have rehab maintenance, rehab maintenance, rehab maintenance, job supplies. How do you get job supplies in grass cutting? And so these things like infuriated me. Like, how can we have the exact same expense for across 10 properties in a different category, right? Human errors are really a big problem whenever it comes to bookkeeping, right? And those human errors doesn't cost the person that made those mistakes any time or money. It actually costs you, because what happens is you as the investor have to then pay the bookkeeper or the CPA to go in and do the cleanup. Now you can say, oh no, I'll tell them they need to go and clean it up, and some will, right? But accumulation of mistakes hits at the end of the year. When your CPA gets your books and they're going through and they're doing their analysis and they see all of this information going into other expense. I had that same problem. I would have $10,000, $15,000 in other expenses, and my CPA would be like, you can't have that much. That's going to trigger the IRS to audit you. These categories have to go into proper sections within the schedules and the forms that the IRS expect. And you can't just put a balloon value into the other expense. So I created RealBooks to help solve that problem.